following WCIA 3 News Special is brought to you by the McDonald Group, Express Employment, Copper Creek, OSF Healthcare, and Harriet's Rents, Tents, Events. Now honoring teachers with Celebrating Central Illinois. Here is your host, Amanda Brennan.
Good evening, I'm Amanda Brennan. No matter the grade, teachers are an important person in anyone's life. They act as a second parent, and their classroom turns into a second home. Plus, they push us to our full potential and could even play a hand when deciding on future careers. Tonight, we continue our year-long Celebrating Central Illinois special. We're highlighting some of the outstanding teachers in our area. First, we introduce you to Mrs. Wells. She's the kind of teacher who creates a classroom that kids just want to spend every minute in. Students call her band room their safe space. Bridget Wells has always wanted to be a teacher. She discovered a passion for music while playing her French horn growing up in Bloomington Normal, and it continued while studying at EIU. Now she's teaching the next generation in McLean County.
Ready, go, and slow, slow, slow.
Bridget Wells spends her days surrounded by notes, rhythms, and a whole bunch of student musicians.
A sticky, sticky waffle. I've taught for 28 years. 26 of those years have been here at Leroy. Back to slow, go.
She's the type of teacher students accidentally call mom.
For a lot of the kids, I actually spend more time with them than their parents do.
That's because Wells covers a lot of ground across the district. She starts her day with choir students and ends it with band.
Slow, fast, fast, slow, slow.
In between the hustle and bustle, Wells also dedicates an hour each day to the LIFE program for students in special ed classes.
It's just a group of kids who need to learn life skills. We added music to that, maybe 7 or 8 years ago, and it just kind of has evolved.
Evolved into something as big as an end-of-the-year talent show. At the end of the day, she's teaching more than just playing an instrument.
There you go, Morgan, good job.
She's pushing students to their peak potential.
If you've done your job as a teacher, your students are better than you when you're done. I said if you push them down and if you keep them below you, then your group just gets worse and worse and worse. But if you lift them up and you work to make your kids better, then your group gets better each year.
And she says they accomplish that by putting seniors in leadership positions and create opportunities for students to be well-rounded. Now, this is one of her favorite photos each year, and that's because it shows how music students can dip their toes into other areas of the school as well. This next classroom is also taking a hands-on approach to learning, and they're hitting the road. Tony Martin is teaching kids not to hit the brakes too hard, the correct way to switch lanes, and even how to change a tire. I got an inside look into one of his driving sessions.
Stop behind the line. Now, whether or not you ride on red is your choice.
Tony Martin is a pro on the roads.
Just go straight, stay in the middle.
He's teaching people how to drive safely from point A to point B, but it's a job he never imagined himself doing until he had kids of his own.
Our youngest son was a sophomore at Central High School, and his birthday fell on a time frame where he wasn't able to get in driver's ed, and we were scrambling trying to find some way to get him into driver's ed.
So Martin called the state and opened M&M Driving School in 2000.
Yep, now we go.
So we'll go all over town. We'll go on campus, go scare some college students, go North Prospect, experience that, and just take them a little bit everywhere.
Teaching them the important lessons like how to use their blinkers.
There you go.
Or how to approach a stop sign.
You have to stop behind the sidewalk.
It's a job that's connected him to many across Central Illinois.
A couple thousand students plus hundreds of thousands of miles. We've gone through 6 cars.
And one he takes seriously every step of the way.
You like to make a connection with the kids and hopefully influence them to be safer and more aware on the road.
And he says parents have a big responsibility too when it comes to teaching teens how to drive. Instructors can only do so much, and students are required to have 50 hours of behind the wheel time outside of driver's ed. Now, it's not always easy for kids to adjust to a new school. It's a different layout and there's some unfamiliar faces. In Gibson City, one family says there's a certain teacher making the transition a bit easier. Here's the story.
You always have the worries when you're going from elementary school to middle school. It's a big change for children.
Ethan, what did you put, hon? C.
But Jennifer Allen calmed those nerves for Amy and Brad Butler.
Just fantastic. She was understanding, but she wasn't too soft.
Their son Bryson has ADHD.
There's the forgetfulness and, spacing out.
But Mrs. Allen made sure it didn't impact Bryson's learning.
I was doing really bad on one of the papers, like D. I got a D, I think. She kept helping me and gave me like extra homework so I could get the grade up.
I would break up assignments or break up notes so that they were in manageable parts. We would check his assignment book on a daily basis to make sure he had everything done, make sure he understood where everything was at in his binder, so organization was a big problem.
She's been teaching 30 years, 20 in Gibson City.
All right, how is everyone today? I'm trying to teach them how to be a well-rounded person too, so I think it's beyond the books. I just want to teach them that they can set goals and that they can make those goals come to life.
Allen strives to be someone students can trust.
Making a connection and building a relationship with the kids, letting them know that they're loved and that they're cared for.
It's important to parents.
But she held him accountable. So that's something that he's going to carry forever. Building those life skills of, okay, I have ADHD, but I also know that I can't use it as an excuse to get out doing homework.
And something Mrs. Allen strives to continue doing in her classroom every day.
Just one of those kids that's why you go into teaching, is for kids like him.
She knows teaching goes beyond the books too and wants to focus on social emotional learning. She says especially since COVID, kids need the support now more than ever. 2 teachers in Rantoul are making sure students feel included and comfortable every minute of the day, what they do to get them out of their shells, plus this.
We also just really want kids to learn that moving their bodies and doing that together can be a whole lot of fun.
School doesn't always mean you're learning lessons in the classroom, where homeschooled kids in Champaign County get to connect with each other every week. Going to school doesn't always require getting on a bus or learning in a new space. For some students, mom and dad are the teachers and home is the classroom. I caught up with a group of homeschooled students in Champaign. About 50 kids spend their Wednesday mornings at the Stevens Family YMCA. It's for homeschool PE class. They're making friends, exploring the community, and doing something that they wouldn't get to do at home. Jill Racca, one of the instructors, homeschools her kids too. She loves seeing them connect with others while learning about physical education.
We definitely want kids to walk away with the idea of having good sportsmanship in whatever activities they're doing. That's been kind of our primary focus, is like, let's learn how to play together, have fun together, be respectful of each other, care about each other, even if we're on opposing teams. That's been a really huge factor in what we've been planning out.
Just learning how to do different sports and like actually play them, and just like knowing the basics. We like
good sportsmanship.
We dive more deep into it.
If you homeschool your children and want to sign up, head over to the YMCA website. We have that linked on ours, WCIA.com. Learning starts at a young age, and preschool teachers play a big role in setting a foundation for the future. At Little Hearts and Hands in Urbana, Courtney Hambleton is making that happen with her class of 2-year-olds. She's been working there since she was 16. That's when her aunt started the business in her house. Hambleton was hooked and wanted to turn that volunteer time into a career. Now she's singing songs, playing games, and teaching young kids the skills that they need to make their next step. But she says it goes beyond the classroom too.
I've bonded with a lot of families outside of here. Like my flower girl was a kid in my class, and so I know these kids forever, and then they come back here too sometimes to work, which is amazing. I've had kids that I've had in my class that have been my, closer in the afternoon, and so it's really cool to see that come full circle and just kind of stay together and be bonded for life in that way.
At the end of the day, she hopes to create a nurturing, loving space in her classroom. She knows early education sets a foundation for the rest of their lives. Well, from one unique Urbana school to another, Hidayah Academy is an Islamic school focused on creating a positive environment for students to embrace a strong Muslim identity. It's a first of its kind in the community, and for one of the kindergarten and first grade teachers, this is her first year in the classroom after transitioning out of a career in social work. She says being in a school like this one means a lot to her. She feels that she can be herself, and that's a blessing.
Islam it's an everyday thing. I mean, we pray 5 times a day. There's prayers to say before you eat, after you eat. Like, there's so many things throughout your day, and it's amazing to be able to just implement them and talk about them, and and you can talk about character and just, it's amazing. There's so many things. There's so many aspects of it that are just beneficial, and it's like a breath of fresh air. Like, you're just able to just be yourself.
The classrooms at Hidayah focus on the basics like math, science, and reading, but they also teach Islamic studies and Arabic. She wants her students to walk away learning about being empathetic and kind humans. And just about 20 minutes north of Hidayah is another school working to create an inclusive environment for students with all different backgrounds. East Lawn Elementary School in Rantoul has a dual literacy program where students learn in both Spanish and English. Tonight, I'm introducing you to 2 of the teachers encouraging their students to be their authentic selves.
A day looks like in a bilingual classroom is a lot of many mixing of languages.
Juanice Moya's bilingual classroom of 21 third graders in Rantoul is the prime example of that.
We went to in front of the office, que estaba todo el mundo así, in front of the office. I have students from Guatemala, from Mexico, from Puerto Rico, from Dominican Republic, from Honduras.
When they all get together, their backgrounds come together.
They get how you say this in your country or how you say that in your country. Because even in Spanish, there's different words from different things and different meanings.
The students interact and collaborate together throughout the day.
Quickly. Muy bien. It's like some groups are in Spanish and other groups are in English, so the kids are in contact with both languages at the same time.
She's not the only teacher in her classroom. 3 others help out. One of those is Evelyn Costavella.
I am a special education teacher, bilingual special education teacher here in East Lawn Elementary and in Rantoul City Schools. We work together, we co-teach with the classroom or the normal classroom teachers. So the children never know that they're embedded because we're just the other teacher.
Moya says this environment is important for everyone, but especially for newcomers. Those are students going to school in the States for the first time.
And I remember that she was so shy and afraid because it was her first time like meeting in a U.S. school. And then when I say, hola, ¿cómo estás? That is, hi, how you doing? She was like, oh, amazing. Like I can find someone that can understand me.
Research from the Department of Education shows there are many benefits of being bilingual. For example, they say switching from language to language in the brain helps with cognitive development. It can also help with social emotional learning when students have more ties to their family and their culture. In the long term, the research also says speaking 2 or more languages can help open more doors to job opportunities. Well, learning doesn't always have to happen in the classroom. What about clubs? What important life skills students are learning about in Villa Grove.
In Central Illinois continues honoring teachers.
In Douglas County, a handful of Villa Grove students are taking their language arts class to the next level. They're dipping their toes into the world of journalism and starting a newspaper club. There's just one teacher behind it who's excited to see how all of her students succeed.
And I was just trying to come up with some idea of how I could get the kids excited about writing.
So Sarah Leith and her 7th graders put their heads together to start a newspaper club in Villa Grove.
They write the articles and then they share them with each other, and then other students who maybe didn't want to write an article but they're really good at finding all of the mistakes that in writing, they go in and try to help edit.
That's not all. They're also learning photography and layout skills.
Do you have anything that you saw that you would say was the play of the game or something like that?
Because I always enjoy writing things, writing stories, and I also enjoy telling them. And I also watch the news a lot, so I really like listening to different kinds of information, and I like telling people about different kinds of information. That's why I wanted to join.
Mrs. Leith wants to make sure she's creating a collaborative classroom.
It's very real world. You have to work with other people in the real world, and they're doing a great job working with each other and accepting each other's ideas, and I love the peer interaction and the positivity in there.
Like, we make our individual articles, but we can talk about it with the group, so I just like group activities a lot.
Do you know how to share a document with Alyssa so that you guys can both work on it together?
It's an idea she's proud of and one she's confident will keep growing so students can keep learning.
It's important to me because I enjoy what I get out of it, and that can help me in future life skills. I think that's why I like it. And those aren't the only students in Villa Grove starting their journalism careers a bit early. The school also has a yearbook program introducing students to photography, design, and writing. It's mainly student-led, but Brian Cortez is the advisor behind the action. He says he never imagined himself being involved in a class like this one, but he wouldn't change a thing.
It's a really family atmosphere in yearbook, and that is not only here while they're in school, but it seems to have gone on past that. And so now baby showers, weddings, things like that, I've gotten to that point with a lot of my former students. So that's been really surprising and exciting. As a teacher, he says it's always great to have strong relationships with students in the classroom, but when they keep in touch after graduation, it's a special feeling. Charleston schools needed a guest speaker for the opening of the district's 75th year. Maybe a teacher who's been around since the start, but it would be impossible to find someone who'd been teaching since the 40s, or would it? WCIA 3's Will Simmons has the story.
How do you get hundreds of educators on their feet? Bring in 101-year-old Wanda Rule.
It made me start thinking back and picking out of my own life the things that I had done from the beginning as a teacher.
Rule started her career at a country one-room school. She then taught first grade at Jefferson Elementary for 15 years before she went to Eastern Illinois University to prepare student teachers.
I always wanted to be a teacher. I really never thought about being anything else. Nothing appealed to me at all.
Rule has been involved with teaching in the community for nearly 50 years, and in that time, she's met and influenced a lot of people.
The thing that Wanda did was she made sure she connected with her students, and she was all about relationships first.
Bauer is a teacher at Jefferson Elementary who learned from Rule at EIU. Rule's message reminded her why she keeps going in the profession.
We have got to remember to look for those blessings and those things that bless us in people like Wanda Rule.
This line of teachers is Rule's blessing. Seeing the impact she's had on the Charleston district, knowing her love of teaching will be felt forever.
It feels like it makes me know that my life has been worthwhile. Life has been worth living. I've had a great life. I really have.
In Charleston, Will Simmons, WCIA 3, your local news leader.
After almost 2 decades at one Piatt County high school, one teacher still finds joy in his job.
There's nothing better than taking a kid who's not sure what he wants to do with his life and helping him find a path.
How his passion in the classroom is influencing his students. In Piatt County, this is the inside of one of their unique classrooms. It's one encouraging students to get their hands dirty and learn outside of their comfort zones. Let's meet the teachers behind the action.
You're going to get proficient at starting a weld and stopping a weld.
Just a day in the life for Ryan Woodham.
Handle here, the electrode holder. There's a notch that allows you to come out at 90.
He's an industrial technology teacher at Monticello High School.
You want to put the end of this piece in the center of that wheel.
And has been for 15 years.
I love teaching. I love working with young kids. There's nothing better than taking a kid who's not sure what he wants to do with his life and helping him find a path. So that's what keeps me coming back. What happens at 350 degrees to water? It boils off, right?
At one point, he was in their same shoes.
So I'm a 2003 graduate of Monticello.
Woodham spent a lot of time in the same classroom he now teaches in every day.
It's interesting having students, and I went to school with their parents, or I went to school with their older cousins.
Jim Standerford is his right-hand man.
Well, the first thing we need to do is divide 6 by 4 so we can figure out how big those spaces are.
He was an English teacher for 6 years, then worked in custom furniture design, eventually finding his way back to the classroom.
I don't expect any of these kids to be expert woodworkers when they come out, but it would be cool if they could use a tape measure.
But on a larger scale,
I want kids to see the world differently.
Standiford and Woodham are working together, fueling a flame for fascinating futures.
But I'm kind of right now leaning towards being a heavy equipment operator.
Jeremy Stevens spends any free time he has learning in the classroom and preparing.
From welding to leadership of other kids.
While looking up to Woodham every step of the way.
I told him the other day he's my school dad. That's what I told him. I said, "You're not really my teacher, I'm a school dad."
The class is also dedicated to helping out in their community as well. They made these butterflies at Nix Park right in town. Woodham says it's not only a great way to show off their work for the town, but also something that the students can revisit years down the line with families of their own. That's not the only project the class has done to help their community. Check this out. 6 industrial tech students just finished up this table. It's made from old Moore gymnasium bleachers dating back to the 1940s. After working on it for a few weeks, it's now in the superintendent's office.
To see their excitement, to see me react was really cool. And just the pride they took in that just makes me feel good about what we have going on in our programs. And what was really neat is these kids did this project not for a grade. They did this outside of class time.
They'll use this table nearly every day for various district meetings. He says the students are already talking about their next project. Well, over the last 30 minutes, we've told you all about Central Illinois teachers doing great things in their classrooms. We hope to feature even more doing the same things. Stay with us for next month's special called Veterans Voices. Our anchor, Brandon Morano, will highlight those who served our country. Have a good night.
This has been Celebrating Central Illinois, honoring teachers.